All right, it's a busy weekend in South Carolina. 10 of the 2020 presidential candidates are there stumping for votes. Among them, 2020 presidential candidate Senator Cory Booker, who joins me live now. Good to see you.
It's great to see you too. Thanks for having me on.
So you spoke at the Criminal Justice Reform Forum there in South Carolina this morning. If you become president, Senator, what is the first thing you would do to help reform criminal justice in this country?
Well, as you probably know, this has been one of the signature issues for me in the United States Senate. In fact, the only major bipartisan bill to pass underneath this president was the one that I led with Dick Durbin from the Democratic side in the Senate, called the First Step Act, which we were able to get a lot of very big changes and reforms there. But we have a long way to go. And so I'm going to use every lever I have, from challenging the rest of the field. There are about 17,000 people we know are unjustly incarcerated in this country that should have pathways to clemency, to driving down mandatory minimums, to helping people when they come home from prison to expunge their records, to make sure that they frankly have access to getting jobs and to not fall back in the trap of recidivism. And then bigger issues that we need to talk about expunging the records and legalizing marijuana, and making sure we are not seeing this drug war continue, which is not a war on drugs, but a war on people.
And you have power as a senator, but to have the power of the presidency, you've got to get, the nomination. And, a recent Monmouth University poll shows that you're at 2% in South Carolina. What are you doing to boost your support in that key early voting state?
Well, gosh, we're feeling really comfortable because there's never been a president from our party who got to the presidency who was leading in the polls this far out. Most of the people from Jimmy Carter to Bill Clinton were polling in the single digits around this time. We are a party that usually has elected younger, exciting people who can unify the party and energize them, and where they distinguish themselves, as Clinton was the comeback kid, as even Barack Obama 15, 20 points behind Hillary Clinton, behind her here in South Carolina, all upset by showing their strength in Iowa. And so right now, me and Elizabeth Warren are leading in Iowa, not only the quality of the teams we have on the ground, according to the Des Moines Register and others, but actually in endorsements from local leaders. And so we're doing a lot on our ground game, but God, we are going to need a lot of help in these next few months just to continue to raise the money to build on those early states. And we're hoping more people will go to corybooker.com who want to see me not just stay in this race, but really thrive so that we can win in next year.
And speaking of money, I know you're in South Carolina, but the Philadelphia Inquirer said, you were in danger of dropping out. But then you raised $2.5 million in a 10-day stretch kind of challenge, perhaps nullifying, that headline. So what is it that's driving you to stay in it to win it?
Well, I'm running for president not just because I believe I have great policy ideas, but I believe in America. In order to make those policies possible, we've got to create new American coalitions, which means we can't fall into tribalism. We can't have this country tear itself apart. We can't have a nation where people think the lines that divide us are stronger than the ties that bind us. So I'm running for president because I believe we need a leader that, after this president who's been a moral vandal, demeaning, degrading, and dividing, the next leader is going to have to be someone who can inspire, unify, heal, and bring this country together to do big things. That's what gets me up every day in this campaign. And one, we can't divide the Democratic Party. We've got to understand that whether you consider yourself someone on the left of the party, a moderate, we all have to come together, and then we have to not just beat Republicans, we actually have to have a bigger aspiration to unite Americans to fight for justice in this country, because we have a lot of work to do.
Joe Biden, is leading, according to certain polls there in South Carolina. Polls show that he, leads the black vote, particularly there, which is an important electorate, powerful electorate in South Carolina. But you even said a few days ago that you were the alternative to Joe Biden. In what way? What do you mean by that?
Well, clearly, we need a person that can unify this party, as I said. And we're somebody that has shown time and time again that in election after election, I've been able to bring out big voter turnouts, big electorates, especially with key constituencies like African American voters. I mean, if we had the same vote from African Americans in Pennsylvania, Michigan, as well as Wisconsin that we had in 2012, as we had in 2016, we would have a President Hillary Clinton right now. And so my ability to bring this party together, to energize and excite and engage key parts of our coalition, I think that my policies, which are policies that are fiercely pragmatic progressive policies, these are the things that are going to help, I think, us not just win the White House, because beating Donald Trump is the floor, it's not the ceiling. We have to have bigger aspirations than that. I think I'll be the kind of president that not only can beat Donald Trump, but can help heal our country so that we can do things from meet the urgencies of climate change to making sure everybody in America is covered with health insurance.
You just mentioned, the president, just a moment ago saying, really kind of promotes a division in this country. And, just think of this week, on Twitter, the president was equating the impeachment inquiry, to lynching. I want to play you some sound yesterday from the president where he really is, doubling down on that sentiment.
Well, it's a word that many Democrats have used. It's a word that many people have used over the years, but that's a word that has been used many times.
So that's his position. And then, while in South Carolina, he was given a criminal justice reform award. You have been outspoken. Even your colleague, Kamala Harris, has been outspoken about, how blasphemous that appears to be, in your view. So what is happening here? That the president would be at a historically black college yesterday and liken his experience in this impeachment process to the experience of many African Americans, people of color, disproportionately black men in the criminal justice system.
Well, look, it was offensive that the President of the United States didn't go to the black college to be a part of this incredible institution. In fact, young people were not allowed to be a part of it. Community was not allowed to be a part of it. Only a small number of students were even allowed in the room. He uses that as window dressing to insult the community and to say outright lies, like he's been the best president of the United States for African American, when he's destroying the social safety net, throwing millions of people off of food stamps, when he is seeing environmental injustice cases against corporate polluters go down, when he's gutting the Department of Justice's efforts to secure and protect black people voting at the polls. I can go on and on and on with what this president has done factually to hurt the black community. So I called him out for that in the stage. I think that this is something where we need to state with moral clarity that this is a president that is hurting minorities. And in fact, he's whipping up racism, preaching vile racist things from the highest office in the land. So we know who he is. This election is not going to be a referendum on who he is. It's a referendum on who we are and who we're going to be to each other. Yeah. And that's why my theme of continually about the healing and the bringing together of this nation is so important.
Yeah, and which then speaks to voters want to be inspired by a presidential candidate. So how will you stay focused on trying to inspire voters so as to continue to win support in your pursuit for the White House?
Well, I think that most folks know that that's something that I've been doing my entire political career, is engaging and inspiring. Is one of the reasons why in past elections I'm one of the most requested people to come out and talk to voters, to get them inspired to come out and vote in Senate races and House races. Look, we are in a nation right now where we have that choice. Are we going to choose a president that divides or one that unites? Are we going to choose a candidate that can inspire and engage the highest of our angels or the worst of our angels? And again, this is not about one guy in one office. It's ultimately going to be about the spirit and the character of our country. I believe if we are going to do the big things we need to do, the big policy agendas that all candidates are outlining right now, we need to put more indivisible back into this one nation under God. We need to stop demonizing each other, ripping each other down, and find ways to invest in each other and build each other up. We are really at a moral moment in America. It's not right or left, it's right or wrong. And we need to have a revival of civic grace, a more courageous empathy for one another. We need to understand, and I warn people all the time, if I'm your president, I'm warning you that I'm going to ask more from you than any president has asked for you in your lifetime. I'm not talking about paying more taxes or asking you to be embarrassed more, but we need a level of activism and engagement like when we mobilized to do big things in the past. When the Russians put up Sputnik, we didn't tear each other down, tear each other apart. We joined together in new American coalitions to bring hidden figures together with white male astronauts to go further, to go farther, to defy gravity and put a human being on the moon. That's the kind of mobilization and inspiration we need right now. And I think I'm the best candidate to do it. And I hope people will go to corybooker.com if they want my voice in this race and help out.
Absolutely. Good luck. And of course, that harkens back to just even thinking about President Obama yesterday as he was, paying homage to Elijah Cummings, and the challenge that Elijah Cummings would have, which is, what are you doing? Which also makes people think about, President Kennedy, too. Not what your country is doing for you, but what you're doing for country as well. All the best. Good luck on the campaign trail to the White House.
Thank you very
Senator Cory
much.
Booker.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, still ahead.